Hello friends, today we are going to take a very interesting topic of class 9th science, that is matter in our surroundings. This is part 1 of the video where we are going to cover the topics matter, its characteristics and Brownian motion. So before we start our chapter, we should know a very important term, that is surroundings. सो व्हाट आर आवर सराउंडिंग, हमारे सराउंडिंग्स क्या है? तो हमारे सराउंडिंग्स क्या है? जो भी चीजें हमारे आसपास हैं उन्हें हम क्या बोलते हैं? हमारी सराउंडिंग्स। फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर हम हमारे हाउस को कंसीडर करें तो हमारे हाउस के आसपास में कार्स हैं, रोड्स हैं, ट्रीज हैं, प्लांट्स हैं, एनिमल्स हैं। सो ये सारी चीजें क्या है? हमारे उस हाउस की सराउंडिंग्स। फाइन। तो अगर हमें किसी भी सराउंडिंग्स को डिफाइन करना होता है तो हम किसी भी पॉइंट को या किसी भी पर्सन, लिविंग और डेड, नॉन लिविंग, इन सारी चीजों को लेके हम डिफाइन करते हैं कि हमारी सराउंडिंग्स क्या है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल द लॉन एंड बुशेस, जो आपके घर के आसपास है वो सब क्या है? एग्जाम्पल्स हैं आपके घर के सराउंडिंग्स के। फाइन। तो एवरीथिंग दैट इज अराउंड अ पर्टिकुलर पर्सन, प्लेस और थिंग, उसको क्या बोलते हैं? हम उसकी सराउंडिंग। जैसे अगर आपका घर है, आप घर में बैठे हो तो आपके घर में आपके आसपास जो भी आपका फर्नीचर है, टेबल, चेयर, आपका बेड है, आपकी बुक्स पड़ी हैं, आपका पेन पड़ा है, योर पेंसिल, तो ये सारी चीजें क्या है? आपके सराउंडिंग। Right? So let us consider these three pictures. In the first one, in the first picture, the surroundings of this man. इस man के surroundings क्या क्या है? The trees are the surroundings. This cabinet is the surrounding. This laptop, this table is his surroundings. Fine. This grass is his surroundings. And for this child in the second picture, these plants are his surroundings. This garden is his surroundings. This window grill is his surroundings. Fine. And in the third picture, for if we consider this child, for him his grandfather is his surrounding, the trees are his surroundings, the plants are his surroundings. So this is what we mean by surroundings. राइट। तो हमारे आसपास की जितनी भी चीजें हैं वो सब हमारी क्या होती है? सराउंडिंग्स। अब जब हम हमारी सराउंडिंग्स को कंसीडर करते हैं तो हमारे सराउंडिंग्स में हमारे आसपास जितनी भी चीजें, जैसे टेबल है, चेयर है, बेड है, फर्नीचर है, हमारा पूरा कार है हमारे घर के आस पास में, तो वो सारी चीजें क्या करती हैं? वो कुछ ना कुछ स्पेस को ऑक्यूपाई करती हैं और उनका कुछ ना कुछ मास होता है। मास का क्या मतलब है? कि उसका कुछ ना कुछ भार होता है। राइट। तो हम क्या बोलते हैं कि हमारे आसपास की ये जो चीजें हैं इन सबका कुछ ना कुछ मास है और इन सबका कुछ ना कुछ, और ये सब कुछ ना कुछ स्पेस को ऑक्यूपाई करते हैं। ठीक है। जैसे ये टेबल या ये कैबिनेट है तो ये सब क्या कर रहे हैं? इनका कुछ मास भी है और ये कुछ ना कुछ स्पेस भी ऑक्यूपाई कर रहे हैं। ठीक है। ट्रीज भी है, वो भी, उनका भी कुछ मास है और वो भी कुछ स्पेस ऑक्यूपाई कर रहे हैं। फाइन। फाइन। सो नाउ वी नो कि हमारी सराउंडिंग्स क्या है और हमें सराउंडिंग्स में इन सब चीजों को कंसीडर करना। फाइन। तो ये जितनी भी चीजें हैं जो हमारी सराउंडिंग्स हैं इन सबको क्या बोलते हैं? दीज आर ऑल कैटेगराइज्ड इनटू मैटर। फाइन। तो मैटर क्या है? जैसे हम कोई भी हमारा, हम जब फूड लेते हैं या हम कोई भी कपड़े पहनते हैं, जो भी हमारे क्लोथ्स हैं वो सब, या फिर हम जो पानी पीते हैं, द वाटर वी ड्रिंक, टेबल चेयर हम यूज करते हैं फॉर सिटिंग एंड स्टडिंग, हम दूसरे ह्यूमन बींग से मिलते हैं, उनके साथ इंटरेक्शन करते हैं, डिफरेंट एनिमल्स हैं हमारे आसपास में, डिफरेंट प्लांट्स हैं हमारे आसपास में। तो ये जितनी भी चीजें हैं दे आर कैटेगराइज्ड इनटू मैटर, क्योंकि ये सारी चीजें क्या है? इनका कुछ ना कुछ स्पेस ये ऑक्यूपाई करती है और इनका कुछ ना कुछ मास तो है ही। फाइन। तो अगर हमें मैटर को डिफाइन करना होता है तो हम क्या कहते हैं? दैट मैटर इज एनीथिंग व्हिच ऑक्यूपाइज स्पेस एंड हैज सम मास। ठीक है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर मैं ये चेयर की बात करूं तो ये जो चेयर है इसका कुछ ना कुछ मास है, कुछ ना कुछ भार है इसका। ठीक है। मास क्या है? भार क्या है उसका? एंड वो कुछ ना कुछ स्पेस को क्या करता है, ऑक्यूपाई करता है। ठीक है, तो उसको हम क्या कंसीडर करते हैं, एज मैटर। तो अगर हम दूसरे एग्जांपल्स कंसीडर करें, जैसे शुगर, सैंड, आयरन, कॉपर, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, स्टीम, ये सारे क्या है, मैटर के एग्जांपल्स हैं। अगर हम इनको कंसीडर करें तो ये कुछ ना कुछ स्पेस को ऑक्यूपाई करेंगे और इनका कुछ ना कुछ क्या होता है, मास होता है। अब ये जितनी भी चीजें हैं उन सबको हम क्या कर सकते हैं, वी कैन टच देम। ठीक है ना, टेबल चेयर को वी कैन टच, हम अपने फूड को स्मेल कर सकते हैं, दूसरे ह्यूमन बींग्स को हम देख सकते हैं। ठीक है, फूड को हम टेस्ट कर सकते हैं। तो ये सारी मतलब जितनी भी चीजें हैं जिनको हम टच कर सकते हैं, देख सकते हैं, टेस्ट कर सकते हैं, स्मेल कर सकते हैं, उन सबको क्या बोलते हैं हम, मैटर। Right? So if someone asks us कि भाई what are the conditions for something to be matter, so the conditions for something to be matter are that it occupies some space and it has some mass. ठीक है, these are the conditions for something to be matter. See, now we know what matter is and we know how to define matter and we know many of the examples of matter also. So next what we have to do is the classification of matter. Why we have to classify matter is because we are studying a lot of substances in our surroundings. So now we have to classify them to make our study more easy. So what happened during the ancient times, the Indian philosophers, they said that all matter, living or non-living, was made up of the five basic elements. So these five basic elements were air, earth, fire, sky, and water. So these were the five basic elements in which the matter has been classified. So they called these as the Panch Tattva. So these all five basic elements, they were known as the Panch Tattvas. Fine. So with the advancement of science, the modern day scientists, they classified matter, they simplified it more. So they started classifying matter on the basis of their physical properties and their chemical properties. So physical property is any property that is measurable. Fine. So the properties that we can see, for example, the appearance of any substance, its texture, its color, its density, its solubility, these are all the examples of the physical properties. Fine. So you can also say that physical properties are the exterior properties because these are the properties that we can see, that we can measure. So for example, if you are taking sugar, then for sugar you can see its appearance, you can see its texture, you can see its color, you can see its density, or you can see its solubility if it is soluble in water or not. So these are all the physical properties. And the chemical properties, these are the properties that become more evident during or after a chemical reaction, that if a reaction will take place or not, how much time will it take for a reaction to be complete. So examples are, for example, we are taking here combustion. The combustion कैसे होगा, जल्दी होगा, देर से होगा, spontaneous होगा या explosive होगा. So these are all related to the chemical properties. Fine. So next is when we classify matter on the basis of their physical and chemical properties, we further bifurcate them. Fine. So on the basis of their physical properties, we bifurcate them into three, that is solid, liquid and gases. So we know what solid are, we know what liquids are and we know what gases are. So let us see a few examples. For solids, you can say car, wood, stone. These are all the examples of the solids. Fine. For liquids, we can say water, coffee, blood. These are all examples of liquids. And for gases, carbon dioxide, helium, oxygen. You can take any other examples that you want to take. Fine. And on the basis of their chemical properties, the matter is again classified into three, that is elements, compounds, and mixtures. Let us take a few examples of elements that are hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon. These are all the elements. Then for compounds, we take sugar, salt, ammonia. and for mixtures we are taking air, seawater, smoke. So in this chapter, what we are going to study are the physical properties, that how matter has been classified on the basis of their physical properties, and when can you say that a substance is a solid, or it is a liquid, or it is a gas. So this all we are going to study in this chapter. And as far as your chemical properties are concerned, this we are going to study in the next chapter. So now after classifying matter on the basis of their physical and chemical properties, what we need to understand about matter is that what is matter made up of. That we are talking about so many substances, इतनी सारी चीजें हमारे आसपास हैं, लेकिन ये सारी की सारी जो चीजें हैं ये किस चीज से बनी है, ऐसी क्या चीज है जिनसे ये सारा मैटर बना हुआ है. Fine. So the next question that arises is what is matter made up of? Matter किससे बना है? So what we say is that matter is made up of tiny particles. Fine. And these particles are so tiny that they cannot be seen with naked eyes. And we know that the tiny particle is known as the atom. So it is this atom that they combine together. These atoms they combine together and they form matter. Fine. So what we are saying is that these tiny particles which constitute to form matter, they are referred to as atoms or they can be referred to as molecules also. For example, we are taking the example of water. Then in case of water, the tiny particle is the molecule of water. Fine. So here what is happening, a large number of atoms, they are combining together and they are forming a matter. So let us just take a simple example. Let us take the example of a raindrop. So a raindrop, it is made up of water molecules. So the particles here are the water molecules. So what we say is a raindrop, it contains about 10 to the power 21 particles of water. There are approximately 10 to the power 21 particles of water. They combine together and they form a tiny raindrop. Right? So this is what we are saying. So that means if 10 to the power 21 particles of water are there, that means that these particles are very small in size. Right? So this is what we are saying. Further, to study and elaborate the physical nature. So this is the physical nature of particles, that they are very tiny. So we have certain activities that we will be performing and we'll give those activities as the evidences. So the first evidence of particles in matter is the mixing of solid in a liquid. So now the first activity that we have to perform is the mixing of solid in a liquid. So for this, we'll start doing the first activity, that is the potassium permanganate crystals in water. So this is the first activity that we are going to perform. So for this, we need, in a beaker, we'll take some water and some potassium permanganate crystals. These potassium permanganate crystals, these are actually purple in color as shown in the figure. So these crystals of KMnO4, when we add them in water, what you will observe that after some time when you have added this crystal in water, the particles of this crystal, they have started moving in the upwards direction. So they start spreading themselves in the upward direction, and after some time you will observe that all the water has become purple. So this water here, it has become purple, right? Because of these crystals of potassium permanganate, because they were purple in color. So now the whole water has become purple in color. So what is this? This movement of particles among each other so that they become uniformly, they are mixed uniformly. This is called as diffusion. Right? So what is happening here is if we are taking a beaker, suppose we have a beaker here and there are particles of water. Suppose these are some particles of water here, right? So if we are when we add potassium permanganate into this water, what happens that the particles of potassium permanganate, they are coming in between the spaces of the particles of the water and they are spreading themselves uniformly. So this process is known as diffusion. Diffusion. This is known as diffusion. Right? So actually what is happening is that we are not providing any external force to these particles for them to move. There is no external force provided by us. They are moving on their own and they are getting mixed up uniformly in the mixture. Right? So this is known as diffusion. So from this activity, what we are observing is first that both potassium permanganate and water, they are made up of the tiny particles. Obviously, then only they are moving and they are coming in contact with each other and mixing with each other. And second, what we are observing is that on dissolving the particles of KMnO4, they get into the spaces between the particles of water. They're getting into this spaces of the particles of water and they are mixing uniformly. Fine. So this process of diffusion we have seen in solid. When the solid is dissolved in a liquid, the process of diffusion is there. So because of this diffusion, the particles are uniformly mixing with each other and the water is becoming purple. So the next activity that we have to perform is the mixing of two gases. So here the activity that we'll perform is the spreading up of bromine vapors in here. Right? So for this what we'll take an empty gas jar and obviously it is empty so it is filled with air. And in the second air jar there is bromine vapors. So this is the first gas jar where there is air and this is the second gas jar where there is bromine vapor. These bromine vapors they are red brown in color. So what we'll do, we'll put the empty gas jar upside down on the gas jar of bromine vapors. Right? So what we'll observe that after some time what will happen that the gas jar containing air, this is the gas jar containing air, after some time you will observe that the gas jar containing air has also become red brown in color. And so what is happening here is that both the particles of air and the particles of bromine they are very tiny. So these particles are moving. So when these particles move, the particles of air move in the downward direction, obviously maybe in this direction, and the particles of bromine in this direction. They collide with each other and they bounce back in other directions. So these are also bouncing back here. These are also bouncing back. These are moving upwards. So what happens? They are mixing uniformly with each other, and after some time the whole the gas jar filled with air has also become red brown in color. So this is also an example of diffusion where all the particles are getting mixed up with each other and they are colliding. So here also there is no external forces applied. The particles are moving on their own. So what we are observing here is the first thing is that both air and bromine they are made up of tiny particles, and second they collide with each other. Particles of bromine and air, they collide with each other. They bounce back in all the directions, due to which they get mixed uniformly. So this is also an example of diffusion. So diffusion can be observed in solid, liquid, and gases. All. Now, the next evidence for particle of matter is the Brownian motion, the movement of pollen grain in water. So what are pollen grains? These are the powdery substances discharged from the male part of the flower. The male part of the flower is the stamen. Actually, these pollen grains they are present at the top part of the stamen, that is known as the anther. So these are microscopic particles. These pollen grains are the microscopic particles. Right? So Robert Brown in 1827 what he did, he suspended these pollen grains in water. And on looking through the microscope, it was observed that they are moving rapidly throughout the water in an irregular manner or an irregular way in a zigzag manner they are moving. So as you can see here, this is the pollen grain and when these are suspended in water, they are moving in an irregular manner. Fine. So Brownian motion is the random motion of visible particles. So the visible particles are the pollen grains caused by the much smaller invisible particles of water. So what is happening here? The pollen grains, they are moving on the surface of water because they are constantly hit by the particles of water. The particles of water are the fast moving particles, so they are constantly hitting the pollen grain. And so the pollen grain, due to that constant hitting, it is moving in this irregular manner. So this is known as the Brownian motion. Fine. So what we have observed here, that the particles of matter, they are made up of very tiny particles again, and they are constantly moving also. These particles are constantly moving. The particles of water are also constantly moving. Then only they are hitting the pollen grains. And the second is that the pollen grains move on the surface of water because they are constantly hit by the fast moving particles of water. Fine. So this is the evidence of particles of matter. So this Brownian motion we can also observe in case of gases. So what happens in case of gases? You must have observed that whenever you enter a room, right? Whenever you enter a room, you can see tiny dust particles suspended in air. Okay, these are the tiny dust particles which are suspended in air, and they are moving in a rapidly. They are moving haphazardly. Fine. So these tiny dust particles, they move here and there because they are constantly hit by the fast moving particles of air. So we cannot see the particles of air because obviously they are very small, they are extremely small, but they are producing continuous and the fast motion, and they have their effect on these particles, these dust particles. Right? So when a beam of light, sunlight enters the room, we can see tiny particles suspended in air which are moving rapidly in a haphazard way. So this is an example of Brownian motion in gases. So the Brownian motion, it gives us two conclusions. The first is that the matter is made up of tiny particles, and second, that the particles of matter are constantly moving. Right. So this is the physical nature of the particles of matter. So what is the physical nature? That these are the tiny particles, and these particles are constantly moving. Fine. So now we have all the evidences that matter is made up of the particles. Now what we have to study is their characteristics. That what are these particles? What are their characteristics? Fine. So now we are going to study the characteristics of particles of matter, and for that also we'll perform a few activities. So the first characteristic of particle of matter is that the particles of matter are very small. For this we'll be performing an activity. So in that activity what we have to take is two or three crystals of potassium permanganate and some water, that is 100 ml of water. So we already know that the potassium permanganate crystals, they are purple in color. We have already done that activity. So what we'll do is we'll take 100 ml of water and we'll put 2 or 3 crystals of potassium permanganate in this 100 ml of water. So what will happen? Soon the whole water in the beaker will change its color to purple, and you'll see that the color of the water gets changed. This we know that the color of the water will become purple. So in the next step, what we'll do, from this is our first beaker. From this first beaker, we'll take 10 ml of the solution. From this beaker, we are taking 10 ml of the solution, and we are adding it to another beaker, and we are adding 90 ml of water so that it becomes total of 100 ml. Right? So to make it total of 100 ml, we are adding 90 ml of water and 10 ml of this solution in this second beaker. Fine. So what you'll observe that the color of this beaker, water in this beaker, the color of this water will change, but it will not be that much dark as in the first. Fine. So what? So now we'll repeat this. Repeat in the sense, from the second beaker, we'll take 10 ml of the solution, we'll add it into the third beaker, and we'll add 90 ml of water to make the solution 100 ml. Fine. Again, you will observe that the color of this water changes, but it is much lighter than that of the first and the second one. Again, we'll take 10 ml of the solution, we'll add it into the fourth beaker. This is our fourth beaker. We'll add it into the fourth beaker, and again we'll add 90 ml of water to complete 100 ml. Right? So what you'll observe, that the color of the water gets changed. The color of the water will keep on changing, but it will be much fainter and fainter. Fine. So what we are observing here, the first observation is that just a few crystals of potassium permanganate. We are just using 2 to 3 crystals of potassium permanganate, and they are capable of changing the color of a large volume of water. Fine. Only 2 or 3 crystals have changed the color of water. Second observation is that there are millions of tiny particles in just one crystal of potassium permanganate. Right? So in just 2 or 3 crystals of potassium permanganate, the color of the solution in every beaker is keeping on changing. Right? So obviously these crystals, the particles of these crystals, they are dividing themselves into smaller and smaller particles. Right? So that, and the third observation is the crystals of potassium permanganate, they are made up of millions of particles. Therefore, these particles must be very small. Right? So these tiny particles, they are dividing themselves into smaller and smaller particles, and every time the color of the water in the beaker is changing. So therefore they are made up of millions of particles, and these particles must be very, very small. And so this is the first characteristic of particle of matter, that the particles of matter are very small. They are very small. Right? So next, the second characteristic is that the particles of matter have space between them. So for this also we will be performing an activity. So in this activity, what we'll do, we'll take 100 ml of beaker. Okay, take 100 ml beaker and we'll fill it with water. Half of the beaker will fill with water and we'll mark the level of the water. So here we are taking 50 ml of water and we are marking this level here. So next what we'll do, we'll dissolve some sugar, or you can take salt also in this beaker. Fine, with the help of this glass rod, you'll start dissolving it. Now you have to observe some of the changes. And so what you'll observe here, the first observation would be, see here there will be particles of water will be present here. Fine. So into those particles, the particles of salt will get into those spaces. Fine. So the first observation is that when we dissolve salt in water, the particles of salt get into the spaces between the particles of water. The salt particles, they are getting into the spaces between the particles of water. Fine. And the second thing that you'll observe, see, in this is the first step that we have done. We have taken 50 ml of water here. This is our second step. In the second step, we are adding salt into this beaker, and in the third step, we are dissolving this salt particles. So in every step, you can observe that the level of the water is same. There is no change in the level of the water. Fine. So when you observe any change in the level of the water, you can say that there is no change in the level of the water. The particles are simply getting into the spaces of particles of water. The particles of salt, they are getting into the particles, spaces between the particles of water. So what we can say is that the particles of matter, they have spaces between them, like the particles of water have spaces between them. Water is a matter, so the particles of matter, they have spaces between them. Fine. So the next characteristic that we have to do is that the particles of matter, they are constantly moving. Fine. So for this also, we'll take a beaker, and what we'll do, we'll take some water in a beaker and put a drop of blue or red ink slowly along the sides of the beaker. Fine. So after some time, what you'll observe, when you leave it undisturbed for a few hours, you will observe that the color of the water changes to blue because you have added the blue color ink in this water. So the first observation is that the ink spreads evenly throughout the water due to the movement of particles of water and ink. The particles of ink are also moving and the particles of water are also moving. So they spread evenly throughout the water, right, due to this movement. So here what we have observed that the particles of matter, they are constantly moving. They are continuously moving and they are mixing up with each other. Fine. So this is the third characteristic of particles of matter. The next So this is the third characteristic of particle of matter, that is the particles of matter, they are constantly moving. So due to this constant moving, the particles of ink are getting into the particles of water and they are mixing thoroughly. Fine. So the next characteristic that we have to do is that the particles of matter, they attract each other. This is a very simple activity that you can even perform at your home. So for this, what you'll do, you'll open a water tap, and try to break the stream of water with your fingers. So will you be able to cut the stream of water? No, the water stream, you will not be able to cut the stream of water. Why? Because the particles of matter, they have forces between them. Fine. So if there is one particle and there is a second particle, they have some sort of force between them. Fine. There is some sort of force between these particles. So these forces, they are known as the interparticle forces. Inter means in between. In between the particles, there is a force that is known as the interparticle forces. Fine. And these forces keep the particles together. These are the forces which keep these particles together. These water particles, they will be together because of these forces which is acting between the particles, that is the interparticle forces. Right? So what we can say is that due to these forces, the particles of matter, they always attract each other. They always bind themselves together. Right? So these are the four characteristics of particles of matter, that the particles of matter are very small. The particles of matter have spaces between them. The particles of matter are constantly moving, and the particles of matter, they attract